Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about all the books that I want to read in the month of May. So I have 6 books total I've chosen to read this month, and to be honest, I didn't think it through very well because most of the books I picked are pretty darn big. Not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, but we'll find out. So let's go ahead and jump into the first book I'm planning to read. This one I'm going to read on my Kindle, so I can't show it to you or anything, can't hold it up for you, but that is the 5th and most recent book in the Wayward Children series called Come Tumbling Down by Seanan McGuire. If you've never heard of this series before, the first book at least focuses on this boarding school that accepts kids that are returning from a magical world. So think Dorothy who goes to Oz, the Pevensey children who go to Narnia, something like that. Alice Goes to Wonderland. And it's all these kids that have gone to these magical places. They come back, they're changed, nobody believes them. They end up going to this school with other kids who have returned from magical places as well that can understand, and they're hoping to find their doors again. So that's what this story is all about. The different books kind of jump back and forth between different characters, between past timelines and future timelines, and I really love them. They're also novellas, which is great. They're really quick reads, usually under 200 pages. I'm not entirely sure what Come Tumbling Down focuses on, but I'm excited to continue in this series and basically finish it up for where it is now. I know there will be more books. I'm not sure how many will be in the series, but the 5th one just came out, I believe, in January, so it's a very recent one. The next 2 books I'm hoping to read are the last 2 books in the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I can't say her name, or better known as the Grisha verse for this series. And those 2 books are Siege and Storm, as well as Ruin and Rising. Both of these are pretty thick, but I'm really excited to continue in this series. I read the first book, Shadow and Bone, in March, and I was absolutely shocked that I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would. A really basic summary about this series is that we have this world where there are people called Grisha, and you're either born Grisha or you're not. If you're Grisha, that means you have some kind of magic affinity. And in this story, we follow this girl who all her life has grown up thinking that she's not a Grisha, and then she ends up finding out one day that she actually is a Grisha, and she has a specific magical ability that is actually really rare and one that can help to save her people and save the world. So kind of like the chosen one type trope, but it's been really fun and I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the rest of this series. Also, this series is being turned into a Netflix show. I'm not sure when it's going to premiere, but I know that they're working on it. They picked the cast and all that, and I think they've started filming, so I'm excited that I'm enjoying the series, at least enjoy the first book, to where I can actually watch the show, know what's going on, and actually be invested in it. So I'm really hoping to finish up this series because I'm wanting to try to get through series that I've already started before starting other ones. So the Seanan McGuire series of The Wayward Children, that one I'm trying to finish up, as well as this one. So I'll have a couple of series that I am finishing up this month. The next book is one that is really outside of my normal reading choices, and that is a YA contemporary. Who is she? Oh my goodness. And that is The Unexpected Everything by Matson. This one also is quite the chunker. I don't know a whole lot about this one other than the fact that it is a contemporary, so most likely it has probably some romance involved. I don't know. All I know about it is that there's this girl whose father is a politician, and she has her summer all planned out exactly the way she wants it. She wants to have a very specific internship. She has very specific plans. And then for some reason, her plans are upended and she ends up having to do like a dog walking service, and things just look very different than she originally planned for her summer. So it sounds like it could be fun. I don't know. I might love it. I might hate it. I don't know. We'll see. But I really need to get into this because this has been on my TBR cart for a while, and it's one of those ones like if I just keep putting it off, it's never going to happen. And I'm really trying to see if I can knock off some of the books that are on my TBR cart that have been there for a while to make room for new ones, but then also just to make myself read the ones that usually I look at and go, I'm not in the mood for that. So I'm going to make myself read this one and see what I think about it. And this will be my first Matson. So a lot of people really like her, so we'll see what happens. The next book I'm hoping to read is another one. Actually, the next 2 books I'm going to show you are ones that have been sitting on my TBR cart for a while, and I need to get to them. And this next one is by Ted Dekker. I really like reading Ted Dekker books, and I'm trying to read a lot of his stuff, and I have 4 books on my TBR cart that I haven't touched yet in a while. So this one is called Obsessed. He writes a lot of thrillers, and I'm wanting to get more into thrillers, so I'm excited to read this one. I'm just going to read the blurb on the back because to me this one's really hard to describe, but the blurb is really short. It says, how far would you go to satisfy your deepest obsession? One unsuspecting man, one demented killer, one all-consuming fortune. In the end, there will only be one. So this sounds like it's going to be epic. It's got a murderer in there. I think the obsession is sort of like this buried fortune or treasure or something. I don't know. It sounds really cool. Sounds like it's going to be fun, and I'm hoping it gets my heart pumping. So I'm excited to get into this one. I think it's going to be a great time. The very last one I'm hoping to get to in May is one that I am really scared to read, not gonna lie, because 1, it's outside of my normal genre. 2, it's supposed to be a tearjerker. At least everybody I've heard that's read it has cried reading this book, or at least teared up, or felt very emotional. And I don't like reading books that make me cry. I don't like watching movies that make me cry. I cry really easily, especially in movies. I don't like to watch things like that. I like things that make me feel happy or kind of scared, or not things that make me cry. So this is one that I'm really having to make myself read, but I want to read it because I've heard it's so good, and that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is a historical fiction that focuses on 2 sisters who are living, I believe, in Nazi-occupied Paris, and it's following their journey of how each of them becomes involved in the war efforts, how the war affects them, how it affects their relationship, and that's really all I know. And I know it's supposed to be, like I said, probably a tearjerker. So I'm afraid. I'm afraid. This one's pretty big too. It's pretty chunky. I think it's like almost 600 pages, so it's a big one. I am glad though that one of my best friends is reading this book right now, and so I will have someone to talk to about it, which will be really, really great. But I'm sure a lot of you that are watching probably have read this book as well, because this one I think is kind of a booktube darling, and a lot of people have read this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing what all the fuss is about. I'm looking forward to finally knowing this story and understanding it when people mention it and talk about it, but I am afraid. I'm afraid of being wrecked. I don't want to be wrecked, but I know I probably will. Those are all the books that I plan to read in May. I really hope I can get through them all. They're pretty massive, but I've had a little bit of extra time to read lately because of the quarantine stuff and all of that. I know May is going to bring a lot of changes to it. I think it's going to start, at least in the area I live, things will start returning to some kind of normalcy a little bit in increments. So May's going to look really different, and I don't fully know what it's going to look like. So I'll see. Hopefully I'll still have plenty of time to read, to get through these lovely books that have all these beautiful covers and these fun stories inside. So I'm quite excited about it. What are you planning to read in May, and how has your reading been going? Has your reading been going well? If you found you've had extra time to read lately. Also, let me know if there's any of these books that you have read. Let me know what you thought about them down below, whether you loved them or hated them. Please no like spoilers or anything for myself or for others who might see them, but just let me know what you thought about them, kind of like general information. I would love to talk to you about that. On this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel and join me on my book journey. Please do, or like this video. On this side over here is a net suggestion for another video if you want to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. You rock, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye!